Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight in our news. 500 CCTV cameras are on the way. Meanwhile, MPs debate a resolution aimed at advancing government's affordable homes program. Plus, an investigation into bribery allegations at Junkanoo continues.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Jared Higgs. Topping news tonight, government is currently in the process of finding a company to provide more than 500 new CCTV cameras. Those cameras will join approximately 200 cameras that were rolled out in the program's first phase.
This one, I believe, is some 600 cameras.
On the heels of the lowest murder count since 2009, Dame says those CCTV cameras will be installed in high crime areas as well as locations heavily frequented by tourists.
And those cameras positions were decided on, crime, where crime density. Those areas where we have a lot of crimes, where we don't have cameras currently positioned. And so this particular phase will will allow us to cover a tremendous amount of grounds. And so, the objective here is that we're not acquiring these technology in isolation. The objective is that they will work in unison.
Dames' revelations on the CCTV expansion came moments after the signing of a $1.9 million contract for Shot Spotter technology, a gunshot locator system that detects and conveys the location of gunfire using acoustic, optical, and other kinds of sensors. He says he expects the expanded CCTV system to work hand in hand with the Shot Spotter infrastructure.
If you have a gunshot, someone fires a gun, right? Shot Spotter picks it up within 60 seconds, and the camera triangulates. So both the camera and the technology will shift towards where that shot is coming from.
Both Dames and Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis expressed optimism that the Shot Spotter technology would result in a further reduction in the country's murder rate. In 2018, there were 91 murders, a 25% decrease compared to 2017's 122 killings.
They're no longer fearful of crime.
Near the end of 2018, Minnis touted the reduction in the homicide rate, saying Bahamians no longer feared crime and coming out of their homes. On Wednesday, his tone was slightly different.
While we are pleased with these decreases, there is still much more work to be done to make the Bahamian people feel safer and more secure.
In addition to the CCTV and Shot Spotter technology, Dame says they are one step closer to equipping police officers with body cameras, which are expected to keep both officers and civilians more safe during their interactions. He says a request for proposal is waiting cabinet approval.
Now that we have the RFP, we sat with the Attorney General's office just to ensure that everything was up to snuff. Now we're beyond that stage. Now, the cabinet paper it's on my desk, and I should be going to cabinet hopefully by sometime next week. We'll be going this week, but hopefully we'll get to see it sometime next week. And once the RFP is approved, we'll send it out.
Dames added that the CCTV system, which is currently manned by police officers, will be monitored by civilians when the expansion in the program takes place. As for the murder count so far for 2019, that figure stands at 3. Well, just hours before the announcement of the new Shot Spotter technology, a woman was shot on Bernard Road. According to police, it was shortly before 11 when the woman was sitting in a vehicle on Gray's Terrace off Bernard Road when the occupants of a silver Honda Accord with license plate AR6981 were seen firing shots at the occupants of another vehicle, resulting in the woman being shot. She was transported to hospital and is listed in stable condition. Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for South Andros and Mangrove Key, Picewell Forbes, today defended Social Services Minister Frankie Campbell over his infamous "Don't ask me about rape" comments. The South Andros MP's comments came as he was speaking in the House of Assembly on Wednesday morning. Forbes was responding to Campbell, who was one of several MPs heckling him as he contributed to the debate on a resolution for land in Fox Hill.
I note the fact that Member for Southern Member for Southern Shores, governance is continuous, my friend. Okay? Governance is continuous. Mr. Speaker, I would have never attacked you as a member for Southern Shores. But you should realize it was just the other day, when the comment came about your ministry and everything else, and many persons castigated you publicly with this rape element. And I was one of those who stood and defended you. I defended you.
Last week, Tuesday, Campbell was asked whether, in light of the increase in reported rapes last year, anything is being done by the Ministry of Social Services to address the issue from a primary prevention standpoint. In response, Campbell shook his head, pushed away reporters' microphones, and went on to imply that the issue of rape in the Bahamas is not the ministry's business. Campbell was roundly criticized on social media over his comments and his actions toward reporters. Attorney Marion Bethel, who serves on the committee of CEDAW, said Campbell's comments were totally unacceptable. Former Minister of Social Services Melanie Griffin called the comments inappropriate and unimaginable. Forbes called Campbell's comments a rookie mistake.
I said you could have made a rookie mistake. I defended you. I should be the last one who should publicly attack in this place.
Meantime, Campbell has since apologized for his insensitive response to questions about rape and acknowledged that he may have offended victims of sexual violence. The Minister administration today moved a resolution seeking parliamentary approval for the conveyance of 1.2 acres of land in the Foxhill area that will be used as a part of its affordable homes program. During the debate today, government and opposition MPs faced off as some questioned the viability of the Minister administration's latest attempt to make low-cost lots available to Bahamians. Jasmine Brown reports.
Leading off the debate today was Housing and Environment Minister Romuald Ferreira, who said the land will make up the Lionel Davis subdivision.
We expect these lots to move quickly. As a matter of fact, we have a list of persons already waiting to purchase them. But Mr. Speaker, I don't want anyone listening to me to be discouraged. We will not run out of service lots. It's important to note that the administration fully understands the need for affordable housing in the Bahamas. The reality is that there are many, many persons today who really wish to own their own homes, but simply cannot afford to purchase property.
The Ministry of Environment and Housing launched its Serviced Lots initiative in July 2018 with the opening of Sunset Close subdivision. This Serviced Lots initiative gives Bahamians who originally could not afford homes of their own access to affordable housing. Under the Access of Affordable Homes Act 2018, owners of serviced lots in a government-approved subdivision may apply to the Minister of Finance for some tax exemptions on all materials necessary to construct a single-family dwelling home, and allows them the freedom to select their own home designs and contractors. As for the Lionel Davis subdivision, the government intends to develop that land into 10 low-cost service lots. But not everyone was completely sold on the program. Pine Ridge MP Frederick McAlpine, who has not been shy about blasting his own government, questioned the size of the lots.
10 houses on 10 blocks. 10 lots. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so 10 lots on 1.2 acre. Okay. So they're going to be mighty close to each other.
South Andrews MP Piceball Forbes also expressed concerns of his own.
The member for Marathon gloated and spoke about his government achievements under the member for Kalani. But I would like to know if that member could stand and let us know, in the Bahamian context, how many heads are actually in beds under this principle of land ownership, what we call these disposable lots, with all of the attendant factors and all the accoutrements of persons who could do this and get the exemption here and there. How many persons have actually constructed a home that we can count today in subdivisions under the present administration that we can go to and say, in this subdivision, 20 homes have been constructed.
Meantime, the serviced lots in Sunset Close were sold for under $20,000 to police officers, defense force officers, customs officers, and teachers, according to the minister. A number of mortgages have also been approved for the construction of homes. The lots in Lionel Davis subdivision are expected to be sold for a similar price. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. A probe into the 2018 Junkanoo parade is ongoing. This after recorded calls between a judge and a costume designer reveal that scores could have been affected by an alleged bribe. Jillian Gray reports.
The alleged bribery of Junkanoo judges has been cause for concern after voice notes circulating on social media allege that a judge deliberately marked down a costume. It's an allegation that the JCNP says they're looking into.
The investigation is still going on. The JCNP took another step this week. We have assembled a special committee that will be working solely on this matter, and then they will be working with the police. That is as much I can tell you right now at this point. But as you can see, there has still been no evidence that has basically come forth, and so we are stepping up from the inside now to work with the exterior as we move on with this issue.
Several recordings between an alleged female judge to a costume designer for the Genesis Junkanoo group made its rounds on social media following the Boxing Day Junkanoo parade. The judge told the costume designer that she and others were paid to mark down their costume. The costume in question, the Cinderella costume, was not part of the top 5 unofficial lead costume results. When the official results were announced on Wednesday, that costume came in 5th, knocking one family's costume out of the top 5. In light of recent concerns, JCNP President Silbert Ferguson was pressed on if the group is looking at ways to safeguard against these matters in the future.
You can't stop this kind of thing. If you find anybody who could stop this, let me know so that we could get them in here. You cannot, we realize that we have been hit with this, okay? When we invite people to join us in our parades, we did not ask anybody to come and do unjust things to our Junkanoo groups, okay? And that is just something that's alleged because there's no evidence. We have a lot of voice notes. We have had nobody come forth, even the person with the voice notes.
He insists that integrity is something that cannot be trained and added that it's up to the judges to exude integrity in every situation.
Ma'am, we all have concerns. And I will tell you that the JCNP has had a number of special call meetings to deal with this issue. And don't think we don't have concerns, okay? We are not going to step out there and say we are going to just not have anybody judge the parades anymore, or the only people we can call is the press, because we'll be able to trust you, right? Integrity is something you cannot train, okay? We have to really rely on the integrity of persons who join us as partners.
The bribery probe will not affect the recently released official results, as those are final.
Once the committee returns with their findings, the committee will then present to the JCNP everything moving forward in terms of penalties and punishment for any person or groups that will be involved in this kind of activity moving forward.
Does that mean, will that affect the scores that were just released?
This will not affect the 2018-2019 parade because at this time there is no evidence that is affecting these parade results.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jillian Gray.
Following a leaked Public Hospitals Authority memo that revealed that the public corporation would only pay approved overtime when funds are available, BPSU President Kimsley Ferguson says he has advised the employees he represents not to work overtime.
If persons are saying that you cannot be paid in a timely fashion as per our agreement, I am advising staff not to work until we get a definitive response from management as to when persons will be paid, if indeed they work overtime. And so that is what I'm advising all BPSU members.
That leaked memo, authored by Deputy Managing Director Lerone Burrows, revealed that the public corporation is, in some areas, $2 million over budget. Despite that, Ferguson says PHA officials should have reached out to the union.
If there was going to be any variation on the time frame for payment, that discussion should have been had with the bargaining unit representatives. Nobody sought to call us, to dialogue with us, to put us in a position to speak to our membership and get feedback from them. So it's really a concern for me, and my advice to persons is not to engage in the overtime.
Still to come on our news, the Deputy House Speaker renewing calls for a new House of Assembly. Plus, the official results for the 2018 and 2019 Junkanoo parades are in. We've got all the changes from the unofficial results.